Well, Razorback fans, we continue to monitor the status of John Calipari to Arkansas. Official announcement's going to happen today, but he did also officially resign from Kentucky. So let's discuss it here on today's Locked On Razorbacks podcast.
You are Locked On Razorbacks, your daily podcast on the Arkansas Razorbacks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into Locked On Razorbacks podcast. I am your host, John Nabors. I am also the host of the John Nabors Show, which you can catch every weekday afternoon from 4 to 6 on Natty State Sports and nattystatesports.com. Hope everybody's having a wonderful Wednesday, as it is an exciting time for Razorback basketball. One of the most exciting, if not the most exciting time that you'd ever see, as we are closer. I mean, it's happening today. Calipari going to be announced, and we're going to have some great things to discuss, great things to talk about here on this podcast, as well as Natty State Sports, as it's crazy times right now. But it's weird because, you know, it's been drawn out. It's been a slow process, and some people have not been happy about that. People have been freaking out, and I think Razorback fans in some cases have PTSD. If they're just like, why is it not happening right now? We need this. It's like, just relax. It's going to be okay. But we kept waiting for just something from somebody confirmed was able to bounce out and to be known. And that's what we got yesterday, as John Calipari released a video on social media of his official resignation from the University of Kentucky. Now, I know that there's a lot of things to talk about in everything, but in looking in the process, but I'm going to go ahead and play his entire video so you get an idea of exactly what we're looking at and what we're discussing, and how Cal was able to approach in his final goodbye to Big Blue Nation over there in Kentucky. Take a listen.
Since our season ended, Ellen and I have spent a lot of time thinking about our time here at Kentucky, what it means to us, the friends we've made on that court, regional championships, conference championships, Final Fours, the national title, in 2012. It's been a beautiful time for us. This is a dream job. It was my dream job. Anybody in our profession looks at the University of Kentucky in basketball and said, that is the bluest of blue. The last few weeks, we've come to realize that this program probably needs to hear another voice, that the university as a whole has to have another voice giving guidance about this program that they hear. And the fans need to hear another voice. We've loved it here, but we think it's time for us to step away, and step away completely from the program. There have been opportunities that have been presented to us, and we're discussing them as a family. I love coaching. I love coaching young people. I love this year's team. I loved every day walking in. They've invigorated me. I love the chase for championships. I love bringing the kids together. It's what I do. It's who I am. Let me start, though. I've got to thank the players and the families that I've had the privilege of coaching, because they've entrusted me with their son and their son's career. What they've done in the classroom. Over 30 of the guys have graduated, 6 in 3 years. What they've done in this community to give back to the state of Kentucky. They gave all of us everything they had on the basketball court and off the basketball court. And I am indebted forever until the wheels fall off. And I think they all know that. I'm not going to bring up names, because if I bring up one, I've got to bring up 50. And lastly, thanking staff, all the people that worked to help us have the success we've had. All the people in the university as a whole, in all the things that they did. The friends, looking right into the camp. We've made lifelong friends that we'll be close with the rest of our lives. And the fans, the BBN, all that you've done to build this program, the people that traveled with us, I want to thank you. Hopefully it was an experience with your kids that you can look at and say, man, this is something that we'll remember the rest of our lives together. Those memories and what we were able to do together is what this is all about. Again, it's been a dream, what we've been able to do. But 15 years, time for another voice. And you know I'm always going to be a fan. Thank you.
So there you have it. Coach John Calipari and his final goodbye to Big Blue Nation. You know, it makes sense what he says and how he says it, and you can see the sincerity that he has in saying his final goodbye to a place like Kentucky that's given him so much, and he's had so much success at. But, you know, I've said it before, but it's still surreal, but it's also understandable of why Cal wants to do something different. Because I was just thinking about it from a personal perspective. I forget about the job, forget about coaching, forget about recruiting, forget about that element of it. I mean, it's important, but like let's just play it in a different direction here. So I fix my hair. Jeez, I don't know what was that one. But look at it in the way of, if you're at a place that you've been at a while and you've had some success, but then you've been lacking success, or at least the success to the level of the expectation that's been fed, and you're just feeling it from everybody. People at your job and who you work around are starting to say, hey, you're not getting it done. They want you maybe gone a little bit. The fans want you gone, vast majority of them. The media wants you gone. And you just start to feel that pressure. But you can't, they're not going to fire you because of how much money they'd owe you and everything. So you sit back and you're like, why am I doing this? This is not what it's supposed to be about. It's not supposed to be at a place and have me being at a place that no one wants me here. If people don't want me here, I don't want to be here. And the tension kept building, and it got to the point to where Cal was just like, why would I come back next season? And it's not saying like, oh, they just don't appreciate me. It's like literally, he gets it. He understands the winning tradition that they have there at Kentucky and what they expect. So he's like, why even do this anymore? I've been here a long time, and sometimes you're just there for too long. You're at one place for too long, and people get tired of it and they want to move on. And that's what happened. And it just really worked out for Arkansas in this. So people keep bringing up, I was like, oh, well, if you can't do, get ready for losing the first round, it's like, the NCAA tournament's a funny thing. Now, Cal's been to 6 Final Fours. Okay, I know the college game has changed so much. We know that. It's with NIL and transfer portal and all that. It's crazy how it's changed. But it's changed where it comes to getting talent onto your roster and how you go about getting those players. Like, that's what's changed. But when you get to the NCAA tournament, that hasn't changed. How you coach in those tournaments, that hasn't changed. How you go and advance far in the tournament, that's not something that's changed. That's still the same. The tournament's a crapshoot. And yeah, I mean, if you're Kentucky, if I was Kentucky, I would have been disappointed too. You haven't won, you haven't been to the second weekend since 2019. But it's a crapshoot in the NCAA tournament so many times. So in this particular case, getting to the tournament and having a high seed in the tournament is half the battle. And I think Cal being at Arkansas and him being able to do that, I just don't think he forgot. He's been to 6 Final Fours. You think he just got lucky those years? He's won a national championship. He's played in 2. You think I played in 3? When he was at Memphis, he was another one. Like, you just forget how to get to that point? I don't buy it. So I get it, and it's sad for him. It's sad for the end there and the era there at Kentucky. But I think you're going to see a rejuvenated and a much happier Calipari. And I think that you're going to see someone who's extremely motivated too. So we'll talk about some of the stuff surrounding this event. from when it's officially announced here in just a second. Folks, it's playoff time in the NBA and the NHL, and baseball's in full swing, and FanDuel is your best place to bet on every game, because right now new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $150 win or lose. You can bet on everything from slap shots to home runs to slam dunks, all on an app that is safe, secure, and easy to use. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to make your first bet an automatic win at FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook.
You are Locked On Razorbacks, your daily podcast on the Arkansas Razorbacks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, moving on into the next segment of the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. I want to talk about the big event of this, because the delays and all of that were really eating at people. Like, they wanted to know, hey, when's the press conference? When's the deal? When's he final? Like, everything. And a lot of it's just for eagerness. It's like Christmas time. You want to open your presents. You want to get to it. You want to have it. So I understand that aspect of it. But I don't think people also understand just how big of a deal this is going to be today. Like, yeah, it's a big deal, as we know, hiring Cal, and this isn't something that's going to have a direct impact on how he's going to succeed at Arkansas. But, folks, they're going to have it open to the public, and I don't know how many people are going to be there at Bud Walton, but it's going to be an extraordinary amount of people there at Bud Walton to welcome in Calipari. An extraordinary amount. And on top of that, you're going to have every major college basketball person there at Bud Walton Arena. Like, they're going to be traveling. They're going to be sending everyone here. Talking about national guys that have been around. It wouldn't surprise me at all if you're going to have John Rothstein there, or Jeff Goodman there, or Jeff Borzello there. Like, you're going to have all of these high-level, big-time college basketball people, and maybe even national sports people in general, in Fayetteville tomorrow for this press conference. And surrounding that, you're going to have your checkout there, of course. You're going to have with the crowds, and people are going to be fired up, and you're going to have people out there with the planes. And it's just everything coming together at once, and it's so much fun. But that's one of the things, and one of the reasons why I felt like it was being such a delay, is just how long it was taking to get there, because you have a lot of stuff you got to do. You got a lot of stuff you got to take care of. And so this is a big event. And with big events come planning, become trying to figure things out. And I think the biggest key for me today of what I'm going to be looking at is, what is the body language and the energy level like for Calipari? What is that going to be like? He's one of the all-time great recruiters, if not the greatest recruiter that college basketball's ever seen. He's a salesman. He knows how to put on a face. He knows how to do all that. But is he going to come into this press conference rejuvenated, high energy, smiling, laughing, cutting up, shooting, pointing fingers, like right over there, hey, I know you? Is he going to be like that, kind of owning the arena and owning the crowd and working it? Or is he going to come in a little bit dejected, maybe a little bit of low energy, maybe a little bit of like, oh, man, this has been a rough few weeks, and I am still like, the body language is going to be everything. I think that he'll come in excited. Like, I don't think that there's any reason to think he's going to, not present himself in a way that's exciting and for people to get pumped up about. Honestly, I think that, kind of like we talked about before, I think the element of him being able to be in a place that people love him and want him is going to provide him that energy. Like, if he would have gone out in Lexington, there's probably always a fear of somebody kind of yelling at him or whispering over at him and be like, oh, I don't know this guy, or hey, you suck. When are you going to actually win some games in the tournament? To where now, when he walks into Fayetteville or anywhere in the state of Arkansas, it's going to be like, dude, oh my gosh, this is amazing. We love you. Can we get a picture with you? Like, this is amazing. It's a completely different vibe, and it's not this downy type feel. It's just a very energized vibe, and I think that that's what's huge for Arkansas, and that's going to be huge for Calipari, and that's what I'm going to be looking forward to. I want to see what that energy level's like, and we'll find that out today. Luckily for us, we'll find it out today. I'll talk a little football here in just a segment, folks. Gametime is now authorized for Major League Baseball, which is huge. That's just huge. And the fact is that Gametime app is actually a place where the prices go down the closer that you get to a first pitch when it comes to all things baseball too. But there's always deals that you want to have whenever you're going to sporting events, especially baseball games, and even Razorback baseball games. Those are hot commodities. Those are hot tickets to get, and sometimes really tough. But luckily for you, with the Gametime app, you can check it out and be able to have some great deals, like last-minute deals. You could save up to 60% off buying last-minute tickets for sports, concerts, comedies, theaters, everything. They have flash deals, so you can save even more with exclusive in-app deals on select seats ahead of the game or the event. And it's also including an all pricing, so you don't have to worry about these hidden fees or everything. What you do and what you see is what you get, and that's the bottom line. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCollege, LOCKEDONCOLLEGE, for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed.
You are Locked On Razorbacks, your daily podcast on the Arkansas Razorbacks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, so final segment here on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. I do want to do a little like football and spring practice because I feel like that's just something that's thrown to the back burner. And that's okay. I mean, it's just what's been going on with basketball is a much bigger deal than what you normally would see in spring football. So it's understandable. But just some little observations and things that I've seen and that I've watched and dealt with in these practices is that the offense is still there. But I'll admit, yesterday when I watched practice, the offense struggled. Quarterback struggled. Taylon Green struggled. He overthrew a lot of guys. And it was a little like weird. Now somebody's going to hear that and be like, "Oh gosh, they suck." It's like, okay, well, Taylon Green and the offense have been good pretty much every practice we've seen, but this one was not a great one. And maybe you give credit to the defense as they're starting to improve, starting to figure things out. Maybe you're, just as you get closer and more involved with the offense and getting things figured out, maybe that's the case. But I think the defense has looked better. I will give them that. Like the defense has looked better, the secondaries look better. But it's still going to be the offense's deal. So, but you've had some guys that have been missing. I know on Saturday scrimmage last week, you didn't have Landon Jackson, and you didn't have Tyrone Broden, and you also didn't have Rashad Dubinion. Well, R-Dub is back. He was in a green jersey today, so he's back. And Landon Jackson was back. But the Broden situation, I guess he's dealing with the family matter, which is, hopefully everything's okay with that. But those are pivotal pieces, and knock on wood, everybody's remained pretty healthy. I've also felt like into the second team quarterback role, Malachi Singleton seems to be the guy. Just watching him and seeing how all that has gone around and come around for that aspect, I think that it's safe to say that he's settling into that spot. It doesn't mean it's over, but it certainly has been him taking the majority of the snaps at that QB2 position. And he's been looking really good. And, that's – I know you could sit here and you could break things down, but honestly, like how much do you know, or how much can you say that it looks good? Like Isaac TeSlaa had a phenomenal catch, like next-level catch in the practice that you hear so much about his hands, and that's one of the reasons why. So you're hoping that he can be really involved. Luke Hasz is still amazing. That dude is just built for everything. I even saw old Slaughter has moved himself onto the first-team defense. I was practicing with him a little bit. Hudson Clark, I know, had I don't think he was injured. I think he was just, maybe taking some precautions. Maybe got a little dinged up there. But Slaughter, the transfer, I believe, from Tennessee, he was on the first team. So, a little bit of movement there, here and there. But nothing overwhelming, nothing too crazy, anything like that. But it's just like, the spring game, the spring's practices. It's a little monotonous at this point. But luckily with the basketball, it's kind of taking it out. But we'll see how Saturday scrimmage or the spring game actually looks. And then football will basically be taking a rest, and there'll be some portal stuff that probably ends up happening. But either way, it's been fun. It's been fun to check it out and been fun to watch it, and hopefully it continues to go on. But appreciate each and every one of you listening in and watching into the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe to the podcast on iTunes or on Google Play. You can also get after me on Twitter at John Nabors Show for any questions, comments, concerns that you may have, and we will keep it going from there. Same podcast time, same podcast channel tomorrow afternoon. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you then.